Hello, everyone, and welcome back. My name is Amber Briggle. I'm the owner, founder, and CEO of Soma Massage Therapy. We are here for another monthly business webinar, my Here to Help series. You can find all of our previous episodes on our YouTube channel at My Soma Massage on YouTube. Today, we are in January. We're in the new year. A lot of people are setting resolutions and goals for the new year, and lots of people set those goals, but not everyone actually achieves those goals. I was actually at a Rotary meeting not too long ago, and our guest speaker was a motivational speaker, to help you set and achieve your goals. And she asked people to raise their hands. How many of you set goals for 2025? Everyone's hands went up. And then she said, how many of you in this room actually accomplished every single one of your goals? And my hand was the only one still in the air. She's like, how'd you do that? I'm like, actually, I'm doing a webinar on that next month. So here you go. So here's a webinar on how to set and actually achieve your goals in the new year and throughout the year. So here we go. Let me click on the next slide. Here we go. So a little bit more about Soma Massage Therapy before we get started. We've been voted Best of Denton every year since we've been in operation, including the last several years been voted Best Pain Management, which is pretty cool because we're up against chiropractors and spine surgeons and back doctors and PTs. And so that's really, really great. We were voted the Small Business of the Year, chosen, selected by the Denton Chamber of Commerce back in 2024. We currently have two locations. We've got a main location right downtown Denton at 531 North Elm Street, where we have 7 treatment rooms and we're open 7 days a week. We also have one satellite location. It's one room open 4 days a week in a chiropractic clinic. Between those two, we gross over $1 million a year and see over 1,000 clients a month. We do have a no tipping policy, which you can read more about on our website at mysomamassage.com. We are available to take HSA and Flex because we are considered medical massage, and we are currently franchising, which is going to be the topic of a future webinar. So if you're interested in business opportunities, you do not need to be a massage therapist. You just need to have an interest in wellness and be a hard worker, and I can give you the blueprint and the game plan and have you run with it. We're ready to go, plug and play. Again, we do offer franchise opportunities. You can learn more about that on our website at mysomamassage.com/franchise. If franchising isn't for you, but you know someone for whom this would be a really great opportunity, I would really appreciate an introduction, and I'm sure they would too. Send them my way, and if they successfully complete their franchise journey and become a franchisee with us, then you will get either $1,000 cash or a year of free massages as our way of saying thank you. So just keep that in mind. If this isn't for you, maybe there's someone in your life that you know that would be a great fit for this. So a little bit more about our Here to Help series. This is, I don't know, episode 7 or 8. We're just going to keep going until I run out of ideas, which is probably never. For our first episode was just, finding your target market. We built on that and talked about how to, like, your differential advantage, because your target market kind of helps you define your differential advantage, and your differential advantage helps you define your target market. And then you can also capitalize on that. So you can market on a shoestring budget. That was episode 3. We've done a bunch of these webinars. They're not even all listed here on this slide. You can see all of those on our YouTube channel. That's the address right there, youtube.com/mysomamassage. So please go check those out. Those are meant for people at every stage of business, whether you just are spitballing ideas or you're a seasoned entrepreneur with over 2 decades of experience like myself. Everyone in between, these are meant to be accessible. They are free, so please check those out. So today, this is what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be talking about how to set a goal, like what defines a good goal, and then and actually how to, more importantly, achieve those goals. So our goals today are how to set a goal that actually works, tips to actually achieve your goals. I'm going to ask you to set or maybe define one goal for this year. It can be as big or as small as you want. There will be time at the end to share your goals. And then, of course, there's time at the end for questions too. Okay. So the first thing when you're talking about it's all about reframing it, right? So if you it's really about clarity, it's about follow through. All of us have the willpower and the motivation, but it really is if you're going to be defining your goals, you really need to be setting up the proper systems and programs in place to actually follow through. That's what we're going to be talking about today. So I'd like you to, before we begin, just thinking about, what was a goal that you set for last year? Um, and were you able to accomplish it? If not, why not? It probably wasn't due to a lack of motivation, but maybe you were just disorganized. Maybe you didn't set time in your calendar. Maybe the goal was too big or too vague, whatever it was. So we're going to kind of tackle some of those issues today to make sure that you're set up for success. There are five key elements to goal setting. First, is it clear and specific? We're going to dive into these in future slides. Is it clear and specific? Is it measurable? Is it emotionally motivating? What's your why behind it? Is it realistic, but does it also kind of stretch you and challenge you a little bit? And is it time bound or is it kind of indefinite? Time bound goals are far more effective because you have a deadline and you have something that you're working towards. We're going to dive in now. So the
Mhm.
first one, a clear and specific goal. A bad goal is like, I want a different job. Now I'm going to focus today's topic on business ownership, but you can apply this to any aspect of your life, whether it's learning a new language, improving your metabolic health, paying off your debt, whatever it is. I'm specifically going to talk about business ownership today because that's kind of where my brain is at, but you can apply these goals to any aspect of your life. Okay. So a bad goal is I hate my job. I want a different job in the new year. Okay. I mean, it's a goal, but it's not very clearly well defined. A good goal is I want to be my own boss and I want to own a business. If you can define your goal clearly in one sentence, that is a more effective goal than having some sort of like idea that takes you a paragraph before you can get there, or an undefined goal such as I just want a different job. Make it clear and specific. Second, is it measurable? How do you know if you're succeeding? What does done look like, right? So some examples could be dollars saved and dollars earned. So we were able to increase our profits by, say, 5%, whatever it is. That was, that's, you can measure it. The number of positive reviews that you have online. Soma Massage Therapy has over 1,200 five-star reviews on Google. Like that's a measure of our success. Is it the number of awards you've received? Again, I started my introduction was, mentioning that we've won Best of Denton every year since we've opened, right? So are you measuring your goals by the number of awards you receive, the number of clients that you serve, right? Like what can you measure your goal and you can see this upward tick every day, every week, every month, every quarter. What you might see some, ups and downs along the way, but over time, is it a net positive? And are you able to measure that? Is it emotionally motivating? You can ask yourself, why does this matter to me personally? How will my life feel different? What's your why? And then go deeper. What's the why behind your why? So, like for me, I wanted to start my own business because I wanted to have a little more control over my future. Fun fact, I was actually fired from my very first massage job, not because I was a bad massage therapist, but because we just had very different ideas about what it was that I was there to be doing, right? And so I wanted more control over my destiny, over my career. I also wanted more financial security for my family, right? I didn't want to have to, um, hope that my boss was booking all the appointments for me. I just wanted to do it myself, right? I wanted more flexibility in my schedule. I wanted to, and then when I got bigger, I really loved being able to create good paying jobs for people in our community. And these jobs don't require you to have a college degree, right? Because college might not be attainable or accessible for everyone, right? I love being able to scale up my services to provide healing touch to as many people as possible without burning myself out, right? Like these are all really emotionally motivating goals for me as to why I wanted to scale up my practice and become now a business owner and a franchisor in this industry. So, what's your emotional motivation behind it? Fourth, your goal should be realistic, but it should stretch you a little bit. If it's too easy, you're going to get bored. If it's too hard, you're not going to have the follow through because you're going to procrastinate. It's going to be just exhausting and difficult for you to accomplish. So a good test is just basically like this feels slightly uncomfortable, but doable. So my personal story with this would be both with
Mm.
franchising and with opening our second location, as you can see here. This is at our chiropractic clinic, the second location we opened, just the one room there. So I was at a point in my career where we actually had survived COVID pretty well. A lot of businesses, especially high touch businesses like massage, closed for obvious reasons during COVID. We somehow managed to go from completely closed in March of 2020 to opening in our current like giant location downtown and grossing over $1 million a year by 2022, right? Like there was something there. There was something really special there. And I started thinking about maybe I should start opening another location and have another 5 or 6 or 10 rooms somewhere else. Maybe it's in Ponder or McKinney or the Colony or like whatever. Like where else can I take this? But then I thought about, do I really want to manage that many locations across a distance? For me, that didn't fit my life. For other people, it might. And for you, it might. You might be a multi-unit franchisee, but for me, that didn't feel like a good fit for me. So instead, I took that energy and that money and that time and I invested it in this franchise model, right? And I hired a coach and a consulting firm and I trademarked our business name and I wrote an ops manual and I got the FDD together. Like it was a stretch, but it also felt more attainable to me than opening another location and commuting back and forth, right? And then continue to grow that way. So that was one of the reasons why I chose franchising. And then along the way, I did realize that there was a real fantastic opportunity for us to partner with the good people over at the Spinal Decompression and Chiropractic Center and open a satellite clinic there, right? So I did open a second location in the midst of franchising, but it was just one room. It wasn't another standalone facility, say, 30 minutes away. So those were attainable goals. Like it was uncomfortable, but they were also not so big that I couldn't do it, but also not so small that I got bored along the way. So your goals should be realistic. What are you actually capable of doing? But does it challenge you to reach a little bit further? And then lastly, is your goal time bound? Attaching a clear deadline or a time frame to really create that focus is super important. Deadlines create focus. Without that, they're just kind of like someday I'll open a business, someday I'll lose that weight. Have a goal. What's your goal? So for me, I had a goal of like I was going to find a franchise coach and a consulting firm by such and such a date, so like January. I was going to complete my homework weekly. I was going to be prepared for that next call. I was going to have everything on my to-do list checked off by the time we checked in with my coach again. I was going to open my bank account for my franchise entity, say in March, right? I was going to review my operations manual by the second quarter, right? Like I had these like really clear goals and a very clear timeline. I was going to spend 3 hours a week reviewing this thing, like whatever it is, like break it down into chunks, into measurable time goals so you can see whether you're doing it, daily, weekly, quarterly, yearly, whatever it is. Okay. If your goal is vague, your brain doesn't know where to aim. So that clarity, that definition really is going to create the momentum. So I'm going to pause here. And I'd like you to just think about, even better, if you've got a pen and paper, if you can write down one goal you'd like to accomplish this year. Maybe it's improving your BMI. Maybe it is finally franchising with Soma Massage Therapy. I'd love that for you to be a goal. Maybe it is reading a certain number of books, or I don't know what it is. Finishing that album that you've been working on for the last 5 years, whatever it is. Just think about your goal, write it down. Okay?
I don't have a
Come back to
pen.
this. That's okay, Mom. It's all right.
Oh,
You
you
just,
heard me?
I did. You're not muted, but that's okay. Just go ahead and you can just hold on to what that goal is, okay? You text it to me if you want. Okay, so now more importantly, how are we going to achieve that goal? Okay. Don't ask yourself, how do I stay motivated? Because you're motivated. Instead, ask yourself, how do I make this easy to follow through on? Now, you don't get an easy button. It doesn't work that way. I wish life worked that way. You don't actually get an easy button, but there are things that you can do to make it easier on you. The goals don't fail, the systems do. So, what systems can we put in place to help you achieve those goals? First,
Mm.
break those goals into smaller steps. So, for example, maybe your goal this year is you want to own a Soma massage therapy franchise. That is a really big goal. I love this for you. Let's go. But you can't do it on day one. You're going to break it down into smaller steps. So the first step would be you're going to attend a virtual discovery day. It's a free online 1 hour call with me and my consulting firm. And we talk about all the areas of support and the territories offered and the costs and all this stuff. So just I want to your goal is I'm going to own a Soma massage therapy franchise as an example. I think it's a good example, but just as an example. Week one, break it down. Just go to that virtual discovery day. Then week two, fill out your application and start reviewing the franchise disclosure document. Week three, start researching financing for this, right? And then step by step to get to the point, maybe week 6, 7, 8, where you're actually signing the contract. Just break it down into smaller steps, bite-sized pieces that you know that you can reasonably accomplish within a certain time frame. Okay? Next, making sure that you schedule actions on your calendar instead of relying on to-do lists alone. My Google Calendar is color coordinated and I put everything in there, even like go to the gym. Because that's a goal I have too. Going to the gym on a regular basis or going on a walk on a nice day, like those are also goals that I have. And if I don't put them in my calendar, that time gets eaten up by other things, right? So assign those specific tasks to days and times. So you're going to attend the VDD at like 1 o'clock on Wednesday. Put that in your calendar. You're going to set aside, an hour on that Friday afternoon and you're going to fill out that application. Then you're going to set aside a half an hour every day for the next week to review the franchise disclosure document and put that on your calendar so you can break it down. And you're not going to start with all 25 things. You're going to start with 2 or 3 that you can do in a day or in a week so as you don't get burned out. Okay. And you've got time to also balance your life. Okay. So schedule these actions in your calendar. Treat them like appointments. Reward your progress. I do this. That's why I really like rewarding my progress. So I'm gonna finish a task. I'm gonna take a little coffee break. Actually, I really like tea. So I'm gonna make myself a cup of tea. I'm gonna make myself a snack, or I'm gonna go for a walk around the block and stretch my legs. I finished a thing. Now it's a little bit of me time. If you can complete a week, take a day off. I actually work really, really hard. This is my home office. I'm essentially an absentee business owner. I've got a brilliant team at the home office. They do all the work. They're fantastic. I work from home 98% of the time. And I work really, really hard, basically Monday through Thursday, so that by the time Friday rolls around, I've got the day to myself. So this morning I took my mom out for breakfast. I've got one quick call after this, and then I'm hitting the gym, right? Because I did my work. So complete a week. Maybe you give yourself the day off or half day off. Hit a milestone, treat yourself, right? Take yourself out to dinner. Go get that pedicure. Go get a massage. Like if you like, I got my whole week was completed, or I signed that contract. It's, time to treat myself, treat yourself. So reward your progress and acknowledge the work that you've done because you are working hard and you deserve a break and you deserve a treat. So reward your progress along the way. Reduce friction. So prepare in advance. What feels hard, unclear, or too big? Instead of, asking yourself, why am I procrastinating? Ask yourself those questions. What feels hard, unclear, or too big. If you don't know where to begin in owning your business, like just think about like what is the first step? What's the first step that you can take? So common fixes would be just start smaller. Again, like maybe you want to own your own business and you don't want a franchise, but you also don't quite know where to begin with that. Well, maybe reevaluate that and think about franchising because that support is there. Or maybe you seek out that support by finding like a CPA or a business coach, a mentor, a loan officer, whatever it is. Okay, you could start smaller. So maybe instead of opening a 10-room studio, you open a 4-room studio, right? You start a little bit smaller rather than opening 3 or 4 locations all at once. You just open the first one, right? So break it down into smaller steps. Prep the night before. You can print up those documents. You can review your slide deck like I did for today's presentation. You can pull up those tabs on your computer and then just put your computer in sleep mode so that when you boot it up in the morning, it's there and it's the first thing that you see and you're not dinking around trying to find that link and get distracted with some online squirrel somewhere else, right? You can set a 5-minute rule. I'm just going to set and start for 5 minutes. I don't have an hour to dedicate to this, but I can do this for 5 minutes. So just start smaller, right? Break it down. 5-minute timer, finding the support. That momentum is going to beat that motivation. Like you're motivated, but sometimes you're motivated a little bit less, and you just have to keep chipping away at it with that daily momentum. Okay. And track your progress. What you track improves. This visibility definitely increases your consistency because you can check things off that to-do list. So some ideas would be a habit tracker. I have on my beautiful calendar here, like here's some of my goals for the week, and then I like when I do them, I can check off so I can see how many times did I drink enough water, did I do my squats today, did I get to the gym, like whatever it is. So a habit tracker, it can just be a list. It can be, closing all the circles on your Apple phone, whatever. A weekly check-in with your coach or your mentor or your accountability buddy. It could just be a simple checklist. It could be a notes app. I have whiteboards all over in my office with different goals written down for the month, the week, bonus goals, right? And I check them all off and I scratch them off and I get so much satisfaction when that happens. So I use all of these to kind of track my progress and see where I'm at and areas where I might be lagging and areas where I'm making progress. Your consistency is always going to be more, your consistency is going to beat your intensity every single time. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing mindset, right? It doesn't, and if you miss a day, it doesn't mean that you're falling back. It just means that you missed a day, you pick yourself up and you do it again. So, encouraging that consistency over intensity is going to benefit you. I'm going to slightly shift gears here for a second and just talk about wellness, right? So, earlier, about a year ago, I hired a wellness coach. She was fantastic. I started on this great program. I lost 25 pounds. That was my goal. And she's like, great. What's your next goal? And I was like, what do you mean? I lost the weight. Everything's great. I'm fine, right? And she's like, nope, if you're not, if you're not going forward, you're going backwards. So what's your next goal? And I had to think about that. And I used kind of this mindset, everything that we talked about previously. And I was like, I just I just want to go to the gym. Just want to go to the gym. I want to be a person who goes to the gym. And so I started really small and I was like, I'm just going to literally put on my gym shoes and my leggings and I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to check in. And if that's all I do, and then I leave, I've practiced going to the gym. And then once I get there, I'm like, well, about 10 minutes, I can do the treadmill or I could stretch a little bit, right? Then I'm seeing people doing the machines. It's like, well, that looks kind of interesting, right? And I ditched that sort of all or nothing mindset where it's like, I'm going to go to the gym it's every day, 5 days a week, and I'm going to work out for an hour and I'm going to kill myself. Like that was intense, right? I had to ditch that all or nothing mindset and I had to start much smaller. I am just going to start here. And if all I have is 20 minutes to go to the gym that day, at least I went to the gym, right? So ditching that all or nothing mindset when it comes to wellness goals, when it comes to owning a business. I'm going to open a business and I'm going to make $1 million the first year. Well, you probably aren't, but that doesn't mean that you're not succeeding anyway. It doesn't mean that you're not getting there. We're going to break it down in these smaller measurable goals and you're going to chip away at it every single day. And if you happen to have a bad day at work, if you happen to not go to the gym that week, whatever it is, it doesn't mean that you've erased that progress. It just means that that's an opportunity for you to start the next day back on those goals and get back at it. Just like anything that you do, whether you're training for a marathon or opening a business, right? You have to keep at it, but that doesn't mean that you have to do it 24/7. You do it in these measurable chunks as you're able, and that progress is going to get you to where you need to be. Okay, so I'd like you to think about what's one area that you can address this month And what's a system that you can adopt? Can you hire some help? Can you call a friend? Can you make an intro? What's a thing that you can address this month? And then what's the action item? The one action item that you can take. I'd love for you to think about a goal, and I'll stop the recording and we can kind of share with each other if you're comfortable. What's maybe a goal that you can set maybe just for the next 90 days, the next quarter of your life of this year, the next quarter of this year? What's one goal? And can you identify maybe weekly actions that help you meet that goal? Can you schedule kind of meeting that first goal within the next week? Like 1 week from today, can you be like one step closer? Just think about that. You don't need a new year. You just need a clear plan and small, consistent action to meet your goals in this year and next month and the year after. It's an ongoing thing. As my coach said, if you're not going forward, you're going backward. So that consistency is key. Just to reiterate, we are offering franchise opportunities in case that wasn't abundantly clear in my talk. Our link again, mysomamassage.com/franchise. If this isn't right for you, but you know someone that this would be a good fit for, I'm offering $1,000 cash or a year of free massages if they successfully complete their franchise journey and they sign the franchise agreement and they get up and running. You're going to get $1,000 cash or a year of free massages. So thank you for that intro. We do these monthly webinars typically on the first Friday of the month. Because of the new year, we did it on the second Friday this month. I would love to talk next time about why franchising is actually way smarter than actually going it alone. You've got the time, the money, the energy, the thought process behind starting your own business. Like, why would you spend that money on a franchise versus just doing it yourself? I've got the answer for you in next month's webinar. I would love to see you there. That is going to be Friday, February 6th at 12 o'clock Central. And lastly, this is our contact info. So if you want a little more information, feel free to reach out to me, info@somadenton.com. Our phone number, 940-241-4490. That's our website, mysomamassage.com. I would love to chat with you about massage, business, franchising, wellness goals, whatever it is that you've got on your mind. Just shoot me a message and let's talk. So that is going to conclude the recording, but those of you who are on the call today, I'd love it if you could stick around and we can chat about your goals for the new year. Thanks again. And I'm going to stop the recording.